Welcome back to On the Line. Finally, it's Monday, June 17th. I'm Corey Mull here with Olivia Ekpené and Ashley Tishens. Some sad news to report. This will be our last On the Line show, as it will morph into the Flow Track podcast, which we are all currently a part of. We'll still cover high-end high school track and field. We'll still do deep dives into high school topics. We're just going to do it on the other podcast now and say goodbye to our beloved On the Line. Are you sad?
To be honest, I am. Yeah, like this show has been around for a long time. I've been with Flow Sports for almost 5 years, and it was the very first thing that I jumped into. So it's been a part of, I feel like, as you know, development with my story here at Flow Sports. So yeah, there's a little teardrop, but I understand. Like you said, we're still going to be covering high school track, just on a different platform. So yeah. We're not gone completely.
We'll go on the soapbox to end the show, but any other thoughts from you?
Yeah, it's been a good 2-year run. I feel like I'm the newer addition to the squad, but it's been a fun time.
Yeah. We'll go through a couple clips at the end of the show, but we started it in June of 2017. That's 7 years. I remember our first one way back when. June 12th, 2017 was our first one for Brooks PR. And over the years, we've had some incredible guests. Athing Mo, before she became Olympic champion. Anna Hall. Hobbs Kessler, after he ran a sub-4. We had Britton Wilson, who talked about her singing and her track and field exploits. Sadie Engelhart, we've had her on the show. Christian Miller last year before he became the guy. Akayla Garrett's been on this show, and so many more. After Running Lane 2 years ago, we had Stephen West rap for us.
I remember that.
That's right. He did.
We've done
awesome
live signing days on MileSplit Live. We once even got Sha'Carri Richardson on the line during 2017 signing day, and she did not announce where she was going. We have that clip for later. We'll tee it up then. We're gonna miss all of this. But hey, we're going to make this our best show before we move on to Flow Track, even tomorrow. So on today's final episode, here's what's going to happen. We're going to break down our national championship weekend. We'll debate what-if scenarios. We'll talk about this athlete or that athlete, and then we'll finish off with some fun segments. But we're ready to start this off with a bang. Let's begin with national records that were broken this weekend, all at New Balance Nationals Outdoor. I think New Balance won the weekend.
I think it won the weekend, yeah.
Pretty clearly. So we had the boys and girls DMRs. We had the girls 4x8 and the girls 4x4. Those are the four records that went down this weekend at New Balance. Let's start first with the boys DMR. Crater 9:44.30, beating the former record of 9:49.78 by South Lakes. Ashley, start off with this. What happened here?
Yeah, I was a little surprised by this because you mentioned that previous record of 9:49 by South Lakes was set all the way back in 2001. So this record's been held for nearly 25 years. And for Crater to go in and break it by just about 5 seconds there, that was pretty remarkable. And then I believe, second place there also surpassed that previous record. And I mean, boy, it was a great race.
The race,
if you're looking at it, especially that final 1600 anchor. I think Josiah Tostenson anchored it home in 4:02 there for 1600. I mean, that's a legit time. He knew it was on the line. And it was very competitive, so I thought that was phenomenal race.
Olivia, what were your thoughts on the DMR there?
It was fantastic and it kicked off the day. I think it was Sunday's competition. So you started the day with the DMRs, and the guys were on the track first, and I know we're going to get into the girls in a little bit, but just to see Crater just come out there and really compete. You had Tavon Kitchens, who actually ran at U20s in the 5K earlier that week, and he finished fourth there with a 14:24 to then fly all the way from Eugene all the way back to Philadelphia to be with his team. And then you had Nicholas Cube, Caleb Doggington, and then, as Ashley mentioned, Josiah Tossison on that anchor leg. So the fact that they went 9:44.30, but it wasn't just them. It wasn't like Crater was out there by themselves. They had Richfield in that mix too. They finished with a 9:44.44 to also dip underneath that previous mark. So it was a battle all the way to the end. So if it wasn't for the collective efforts from everyone on that team, and then Josiah dropping a 4:02 split, it would have been a whole different story.
And this was reminiscent of Nike Indoor Nationals, where Crater went into a DMR with needing a Josiah Tostenson final 1,600 meters.
Yeah.
So there's something about, I think, that DMR that really lends itself. I don't think they actually won the DMR there. Did it go to Buchholz, maybe indoors? But I mean, they find something different in the DMR and they're able to capture it. Shout out to their head coach, Justin Loftus, who leads this group, the distance crew. It started last year with Tyrone Gorsey before he graduated on, and there was something special there. And, to beat South Lakes, Alan Webb led South Lakes in 2001. It's just an incredible moment. Let's go to Cuthbertson. The girls, 11:20:44, beating the former record that was set this year by Ventura, 11:21:85. Olivia, I'll go to you first here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, for me, this I felt like was a more interesting race because you had heavy hitters, Cuthbertson, Ventura, who actually had that record to begin with. You knew Sadie Englehart was going to be on that anchor leg. So I'm over here on the edge of my seat, like, what exactly are we about to witness? But from the start, I think Ashley and I were texting back and forth because we're both like dialed in on New Balance. Like, Cuthbertson went out and demolished this race from start to finish. You had Justine Persano, who split 3:29 on that leg to kick things off. Then you had Tatiana Blank, who went 57:86. I remember during indoor season on the broadcast, they were mentioning how she split 58 on that 400-meter leg, and so she improved on that mark. Then you had Stella Kermes, who went 2:11. Charlotte Bell there to anchor with a 4:41 to then drop that time collectively to an 11:20:44. But I want to give a huge shout out to Ventura. I know, like I mentioned, they were going into that meet as the previous record holders, and Sadie, honestly, she got that baton and was just able to pick up 5 extra places to move her team from that middle pack all the way to second, and split a 4:42 there to help her team go in at 11:32 there. So great performances for the DMR, but shout out to Cuthbertson, who did a fantastic job.
Ashley, Cuthbertson, North Carolina.
Yes.
It's your state.
That is my state.
Yes.
They've been setting national records pretty regularly over the last year. Plus, I actually kind of thought that they would step off the gas a little bit this year because they graduated one of the Persano sisters last year, but they've obviously stayed on it. What did you see from them?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just shows what kind of program they have. Like, one of their stars, Justine Persano, graduates, but it's just like, who's the next person up, right? That can fill in that slot. I know in, the 4x8, they've had, I think, a freshman up in there, like, getting in the mix. And then here in the DMR, I mean, shoot. If you're looking at how many national records this team has, so now they have the outdoor DMR record. Indoors, they have the DMR, the 4x8, and the 4x mile. So they have all the distance records for indoors, which is crazy to think about. Like, when's the last time we've seen a distance powerhouse like that, set records in like every event?
Yeah. The thing is, I don't think the records will stand the length of time, just the way high school track is going. But remarkable, I think, that they were able to do this over this 2-year run. And just a little fact check from our last segment, Crater did win the indoor national title at Nike Indoor Nationals, 10 flat there, and they ran 9:44 here, so crazy improvement there. Let's go to the 4x8 Union Catholic. They obviously set the national record at the Penn Relays. They came back at New Balance Outdoor. And what were your thoughts on this team just killing it this year? Olivia.
Yeah, Union Catholic just did a fantastic job in that 4x8 to kind of help get things started going at the New Balance National Outdoors. You had Jemiah King, Peyton Hollis, Sophia Thompson, Paige Shepard. They all did a fantastic job with all of their splits, 209, 209, 210. Then Paige Shepard on that anchor leg going 205. So they just collectively, again, they just know how to put another solid effort together and looked fantastic doing it.
Paige Shepard.
Paige, yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Just insane.
Next star in the making.
Next up, yeah. I mean, do you agree here with Union Catholic?
Yeah, I remember back to Penn Relays, and like, I think we were all pretty shocked to see them go 8:41 there. The fact that they then shaved like 4 seconds off that, go dip under 8:40, 8:37. And again, like, they just dominant the whole time. When you're, your first 3 legs, when they're splitting, 209s, then you have a 205 there. I mean, you don't get a quartet like that very often. But Union Catholic, I mean, they're a powerhouse, so not surprised to see them do that.
Yeah, and I think this is a team that will build on it, will insert new athletes in time, and maybe we'll see they'll make another run. By the time Paige is a senior, do you think they could possibly go after 8:34? It's going to be tough, but
oh man,
it's Union Catholic.
It's Union Catholic.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah. Like, just think about the history of this program, too. So, Sydney.
Hey, Sydney.
Just saying.
Hey, we got Peyton Hollis, we got Paige Shepard now, and we got plenty on the boys' side too. Montford Academy girls were the last national record here, 4x4, 3:31 on the clock. They put Bullis School's 3:35 down here by 4 seconds. So, Ashley, I'll go to you first.
This was, I think to me, this was one of the, probably the most impressive one of everyone, because 3:35 is legit already, right? Like, that was the previous record. It was set by Bullis this year, set at Penn Relays. To go to 3:31, like, that's just insane. And, like, again, Montverde and Bullis were the two teams we were looking at in this race that could put together something special, and they were battling up until that final 100 meters, but it was Montverde that had that final kick there to come away with the win. But 3:31, a high school team running 3:31, to me, that's just ridiculous.
Montford was the best team all year long. You know, they set the indoor standard, I believe, right? Outdoor standard here. I thought it was a matter of time for them to put this on paper and then to actually do it. I just thought it was a matter of time.
It was insane.
Do you agree?
It was, yes. And it was interesting because I was kind of expecting, like, we've seen Adasia Hodge, like, make her appearance on the 4x4. So when she came out, like, when the whole team did their whole intros and I didn't see Adasia, I was like, this is interesting. I wonder how this is going to go, because she's just been part of this team for such a long time. And, you know, I would just think about, like,
but she's not a true 400-meter runner.
That's very true, yes. And so when I think about just this year as a whole, this record, this is the third time this record has fallen. It started off at Florida Relays. Bullis School got it there. Then they did it at Penn. Fantastic job. But
by a smidge.
By a smidge. It's still an improvement. So the fact that it dropped a third time in a season is remarkable. So you had Nakara Hudson, Skylar Franklin, like, destroyed her second leg. Like, that is a great position to put her in. Deja Reed, Olivia Williams holding off the anchor leg from Bullis School to then go 3:31.68. And the fact that Bullis School also went 3:32.29 to also dip underneath that is fantastic.
I'll tell you how this happens. Two pieces.
Okay.
Skylar.
Yeah.
They haven't really had Skylar in these teams for much of this season. So you put her in there, she immediately improves the team. The second piece is Deja Reed. Gerald knows that Deja Reed's going to be a star. Like, she's a freshman this year. She is running well above her age. And I think she is probably the next one up here after some of these girls graduate. Deja Reed is going to be a name that we're talking about. Those two pieces, along with Olivia, 52-10 to finish things off, gets this done for Mountford. And again, you put them on paper, you finally get a healthy team, they're going to make magic work. So I know we always ask the question, are we surprised by these things?
No.
And I usually say I am surprised, because all records are broken and they deserve amount of respect, but for here, I'm not. So
they lived up to the hype and expectation. Like, you had two teams battling out, and Mountford Academy just had an absolute day.
The right stuff. They were cooking up the right stuff. All right, let's move to the U.S. U20 Championships, which were held Wednesday and Thursday at Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon. Athletes made the trek over to Hayward Field to secure a ticket to World U20s. First, U.S. was out. Then they were back in. Ticket is there. So let's ask each of you, what was the most surprising moment that you saw from an athlete, and what was your best moment? Two different things. Olivia, I'll go to you first.
Mine kind of ties into a post-race interview, which is why I have this as a surprise. The time and the athlete might not come as a surprise for anybody, but Vance Nilsson won the U20 400-meter hurdle title in 50.23. Now, in his post-race interview that he did with us, he mentioned it wasn't a clean race for him. He can drop a lot more time this season. He didn't show what he had in the tank in that race, so he felt like there was still more to go. And so essentially he's just going to go back to the drawing board, get more training in to prepare for the U20 championships and kind of move forward. So that was the biggest surprise for me, just knowing this guy just went 50.23 and felt like he had more in the tank, did not execute the best race that he possibly could, and comes away still with the title. So that was my biggest surprise.
Yeah, and I think he could go after a national record here in the 400-meter hurdles. Kenneth Ferguson has the national record. With Norman Grimes has run faster, but there was a hurdle height discrepancy there. I've heard about this from Brandon all the time. It's Kenneth Ferguson that owns the national record, 49.38. But do you think he'd go under 50 at Worlds?
Oh, I think he can. Absolutely. Yeah. The fact that you went 50.2 and internally you're like, I did not run the race like to the best of my ability. Absolutely. I think we can go.
Actually, I think he's going to get it before Worlds. He's going to run the Olympic trials.
Oh, the trials.
So
That's
he
true.
I think he's going to do it there in person.
There you go.
I mean, the guy already ran sub 35. You
Yeah.
put him in a pro field where a lot of them are running really 48s pretty.
Yeah.
I mean,
Consistently.
at the highest level, 46 and 47, but high schooler to get into 48 high, him especially, I could possibly see it. I mean, definitely getting into the 49 ranges. Did you talk about your best moment yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's just go 1-2.
Okay, my best moment, Scotty Vines of DeBeck High School out in Colorado. I am just super impressed by all of his high jump performances this year. He won the U20 title, punched his ticket to Peru with a clearance of 7 feet, 3 1/4 inch. He's just been undefeated this whole entire season in this event. He debuted his season at 7.2. Like, imagine clearing that in your first outdoor meet of the year, then jumped a personal best of 7.4 1/4 to be U.S. #1, and then he also won the Nike title with a 7.1 clearance. So the fact that you went from Nike with that performance to then improving by 2 inches and a quarter is remarkable. So that's my best performance, just because Scotty has just been the guy this year in the high jump.
Guys been moving.
Yeah.
Ashley.
Okay, so my surprise here, I'm going to give it to former Ohio standout Katie Clute, running for Oregon. She's the freshman there. She won both the women's 3K and the 3K steeple. I mean, that's a pretty tough double. She got it done also a week after competing in that 3K steeple final, NCAAs. 10:02 for the steeple win over Angelina Napoleon. And then she won the 3K in 9:30. So I've been really surprised with how Clute has transitioned to that collegiate level. I think Oregon, it's pretty obvious that that's kind of the spot for her. Like I think she's molded well at that program. And so I thought that was really good to see for the surprise.
Did you get a chance to listen to her interview at all?
No, I should have, but I did not.
So Bobby did it there, and she talked about the environment. Her apartment's just down the street from Hayward. So she was able to basically walk over, get this done, not a ton of travel to stress her out from the situation. So that was partially some of the variable that went into that. What about your best moment?
I think best moment for me has to be Jaden Wiley. First in the 100 and first in the 200 on the men's side. He ran 10:21 for the 100 win and then 20:82. I think he ran faster in the prelims. But I feel like that's a great way for him to end his season.
I agree. I had a heartbreaking moment, but since this is only a two athlete segment here, I stuck to the segment.
Thank you.
Stuck to the segment. Thank you. You're
told,
the one we got to watch out for.
I was told I couldn't have more than
exactly.
more than 2.
Exactly.
So here we are.
See, I'm only going with 2 here. So Michael Long of Ava Maria, a college that most people don't know about. It's a Catholic institution located in Southwest Florida, right above Naples. Alan Webb became their first head coach in history in 2022. That's when their track program started. He recruited Michael Long a year later out of Virginia. Michael Long won an NAIA national title this year in May. Goes into U20s, runs his career best 800 meters, 147.54. I hate to say it, but I'm not surprised. Alan Webb is coaching his first star at an NAIA school that's competing at the U20 stage, and he's going to have a platform at Worlds now. I mean, thoughts on Alan Webb kind of culturing this 800-meter runner at Ava Maria? Kind of unorthodox, decision to go there, but I think it's mostly due to their faith, right, and their beliefs. So, impressed?
I am. When you think about what Alan Webb has done throughout his career, we're seeing a lot of this, where a lot of athletes who have done extraordinary things, whether you made it on a USA team or whether you're just a huge fan of the sport, you always try to find a way to give back. So I'm impressed by the fact that Alan Webb is using, and all of us here have had conversations with Alan Webb multiple times, and the fact that he's here at this institution, giving back in this way, feeding into these kids, and putting that belief that they can do it, I think is remarkable. So honestly, I'm not really surprised. I want to learn from one of the best athletes in not only high school history, but in history in the sport of in track and field. So
Yeah.
I'm honestly not that surprised. I think this is great.
Any thoughts?
It's cool. Honestly,
Actually, it's cool.
It's a unique story, and
Yeah.
because it's one of those stories that you really want to follow, right? I think like as a track fan, and I think that's really cool to see, Michael Long at Ave Maria doing some awesome things, and learning from Alan Webb.
Alan Webb could probably coach anywhere else, but he chose Ave Maria
Yeah.
because of his beliefs, and I think this is now, payoff to that, and we'll see, what he can do in the future, but this is a great step. Jacoby Tharp was my best moment of U20s. 13-12 in the 110s. The hurdle height goes a little bit down from the international level, but dominant as ever for Tharp, and now he goes into trials, potentially with a shot to make the team as well. So first step for him was getting that qualifier for Worlds at U20s, and next up is trials. All right. Our next segment's going to be kind of a fun one. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little bit of an old geezer. You're getting up there.
I am getting there.
You're
I'm
getting
like
up
1 foot in, 1 foot out, and Ashley's like there.
She's the young one.
I'm the young one.
But
Yes.
apparently on TikTok there's this trend of what if photo. Explain it, Ashley.
Yes.
Like
Ashley.
it's basically just hypotheticals, it's like a slideshow, and it'll show, a picture, and it'll say, what if blah blah blah,
Exactly.
blah blah blah, and then it you go through what would happen.
Interesting. I like it. So we have 3 of our own what ifs that we're going to go through ourselves from the weekend. Our first one, what if Drew Griffith went to Adidas Outdoor Nationals instead of New Balance Nationals? We'll see if we'll put we do have a graphic that we could put up on screen, but I'll go to you first, Ashley. What if he went to Adidas instead of New Balance?
I feel like it would have been a different scenario, right? We saw at New Balance, he went sub 4 for the second time of his career, of the season, 359 flat. I hate to say it, but I feel like if he went to Adidas, I don't know if sub 4 would have been in the cards.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, right? Let's be honest, a lot of that talent is at New Balance.
Well,
It's a different scenario and different race strategy if you're a little more by yourself at Adidas. It's harder you've said it yourself before, it's harder to chase after a sub 4 if you're by yourself.
well, I'll go into the hypothetical on my end then. I think if Drew Griffith had chosen Adidas,
Other people to go on.
his homies follow him to Adidas,
Okay,
and Adidas
okay.
becomes the place to go for distance athletes
You
at the
think-
national
I was
championships.
I
And
wasn't
then
going that deep.
he goes sub 4 at Adidas and makes Adidas the place to be. That's my what if.
What?
That's an interesting.
Really? You think
what?
all the homies would have went all the way to Adidas?
All the homies would have went to Adidas if he went to Adidas.
I bet you his Notre Dame homies would have gone. You know.
Yep.
I don't think all the homies would
Squad.
have went.
No?
I don't think all the homies would have went. Hypothetically, if Drew Griffith would have went to Adidas, my brain was like he was going to win Adidas. But my next question was like, how would Zach Hillhouse would have done at New Balance? I don't even know.
No
if he,
sub 4.
I don't think there would have been a sub 4 performance because Drew Griffith just pretty much doing Drew Griffith things, like led that race from the start, like played some tactical things, but then made his way up. And Marcus Riley finished through there with a 401. So I don't even know if Zach Hillhouse would have punched his name as the 21st kid to do that.
On top of that, Marcus Riley then becomes sub 4 Marcus, takes the mantle from Drew. This is a whole web that we're getting into.
Wow, this is like a
But
big. I didn't.
we'll
you
stop.
really deep.
We'll stop from there. We'll stop from there. Next up, what if Elizabeth Leachman was a 400-meter runner? Olivia.
Oh, gosh, I knew you were going to toss to me for this one. Well, right now, her personal best in the 400 is 62 seconds. It takes a special kind of person. Not saying she's not special at all, but like the 400 is like a grueling race. I can definitely see her going sub 60 in this event. I don't know where, though. I don't know where. I was thinking like 57 to 60 seconds. For her.
Okay.
Just based off her running form, all of that.
Okay.
Ashley.
Okay, if we're going kind of one-dimensional, right? Multiple parts. Immediately I'm like, okay, what could she? If she was a 400 runner, I'd be like, oh, she could run a 57, 58. She'd be a very, good like high school 400 runner. However, if you're taking it in multiple dimensions, then it'd be like, oh, you don't have an Elizabeth Leachman in the distance events. Who would be the one that's like the Elizabeth Leachman
Oh.
if Leachman isn't there?
Okay.
Oh, good
So-
question.
Would that be like Jane Hendegren? Would Jane Hendegren be the one that we're talking about more instead of Elizabeth Leachman? Like,
Well,
what would be the...
If Jane Hendegren doesn't have Elizabeth Leachman, is she as good as she is?
Oh, true. This is getting complex.
It's a whammy. It's a whammy.
Iron sharpens
All right,
iron there.
I took this a different way.
Of course you did. Let's hear.
So if Elizabeth Leachman was a 400-meter runner from the very beginning, she's training anaerobically for that distance. So her whole training schedule and program is different. She becomes a 55-second 400-meter runner.
Goodness.
She goes 12 flat in the 100.
12 flat?
25 seconds in the 200. She's a legit quality short sprinter. And that's
12 flat?
that's Leachman if she ran the 400 from the very beginning. If she ran from the very beginning, she's a different runner entirely. Not Leachman, not superstar distance Leachman, but very quality Leachman.
It's like the alternate universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Corey's really in this one.
The dark timeline. All right, last what if, we'll go to this.
Ooh, I like
What
this one.
if the U.S. U20 championships were held in Philadelphia instead of Eugene? Ashley.
Let's face it, would have been better. And we're looking at it, New Balance, it's where everyone went. That's where you're seeing all the faster times. Franklin Field was fast this past weekend. If you put U20s there, you have more kids competing, better performances, more competitive, better teams sent off to World U20s. Boom.
Agreed. I have no arguments with that.
Yeah.
I have nothing more to add.
I think I'm there too. I think the only
have
thing
multiple dimensions
the only thing I'll add on top of that is if U20s was in Philadelphia this weekend, it would have been the single greatest high school and U20 track meet we've ever seen.
Yep.
That is
Fair.
That's my hypothetical.
Okay.
I see that.
Can't deny it.
Yeah. Can't deny that at all.
All right, well, that was fun. We're going to go to our next topic, and this is another juicy one. This year, we've had more stars than ever in high school track and field. A list of them will compete at the U.S. Olympic trials. We went through it today. I think it's 9 total high schoolers. That's crazy.
That's insane.
Tough question, but we do have to answer it. Who's more likely to make the U.S. Olympic team? Christian Miller or Quincy Wilson? Olivia, you first.
Thank you for putting her on the spot first.
I'm going to start off by saying this. We're not including relays into this conversation. So when we say make it a team, you're going top 3. Okay? Okay.
Okay.
Huge fan of the King. Huge fan.
King who?
Who's the king?
King Quincy.
Okay.
The King. However, I'm going Christian Miller here. Here are the reasons why. Number one, at one point he did have the world leading time. Cool. If you look at the world athletic rankings right now, everyone that's competed in the 100 meters for the senior level, Christian Miller is the 5th fastest man in 2024 this year. So you can go look at the declaration page on USATF and you're going to see all these other names. Got to remember there was a time period. So some of these athletes ran this time last year, but right now Christian Miller is the 5th fastest man in the world. The only other American in 2024 who has run faster than him is Noah Lyles, who went 9:85. Christian went 9:93. Then this past weekend, we had an opportunity to see him go 9:95 at New Balance and then literally shut it down. I think he was just like, y'all, I'm here. Train's been going great, and we're going to shut the whole thing down. So he's sharp. I think he can honestly go top 3 if he goes through the rounds like he's supposed to. But, of course, there's so many other gentlemen who are going to be in the conversation, like Kendall Williams, Brandon Hicklin, Christian Coleman. Christian Coleman has gone 9:95. Ronnie Baker has gone 9:98. So you can kind of see these are they're grown men, grown adults. And I think Christian Miller is someone that can sneak into that top 3. So those are my reasons.
Will you both agree, at the very least, that separate trials from regular season, and it's just a different ball game?
Yeah,
It is.
Right?
absolutely.
Okay. With that being said, I like everything you're saying. Ashley, do you agree or disagree?
I feel like Corey is like,
I agree.
you're being
I agree.
interesting over here. Okay.
I
Go
agree.
ahead. I'm going to let you talk and then ask Corey some questions.
If you look at the 100, I would argue that it's not necessarily all locked up in terms of who is going to make the team.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, you could say the same for the 400, but I think the 100's kind of in the same boat a little bit. I think it's one of those events where someone can sneak in and grab a spot. I mean, for instance, last year, Cravant Charleston, of all people, won the men's 100 last year. Like, we've seen this happen before in the 100 recently. And, I mean, shoot, Christian Miller's gone sub 10 twice, win legal. One against high school competition where, I mean, no one was even racing with him. He did it at Franklin Field. That's a hard track to get at that. He set a Franklin Field record as a high schooler. I mean, that track's been around since, like, what, the late 1800s or something like that? I mean, that's crazy. And so, and if you look, too, his load hasn't been insanely crazy. Mm-hmm. He hasn't been running as much. It's obvious he's preparing. Sure, as you mentioned, the Olympic trials are a whole different ballgame. These are what the pros have been working towards this whole time. But I think if anyone could maybe, has nothing to lose and maybe, could do something special, I think it's Christian Miller.
And I agree. I think he is one of the most qualified to make a team at this point. I think Sydney is the only other teenager. Ariane was another teenager that felt ready to go too. They were ready at their ages. The only thing I'll say that Christian Miller has not been prepared for, and Quincy has to some respects, is crowd fare. Mm-hmm. Nothing will prepare Christian for U.S. Olympic trials crowd.
True.
On the line. The 100 is the meet.
Yeah.
There's a whole documentary on the 100 sprint coming out on Netflix. It's about the 100. So the pressure of being on the line against men who have done this time and time again, I think is going to be so high, like so high. And that's my fear, is that event itself is just so pressurized that it's going to take a gargantuan effort from Christian Miller to make the team in the top 3. I think he can make the relay pool. I'll say that. But I'm going Quincy Wilson here. King Quincy. We said it before anybody. I think we said King
Facts.
Quincy.
We have said it here first.
Can we trademark that?
Yeah, we could try. We could try. But the guy at 16 has proven pretty much everything. 45-19, 45-17, 45-12. We all know he's got a sub 45 in him. Now, I've been a little conservative over the weeks about giving him too much and projecting what I think he's going to accomplish. But at this point, I got to change course and just have blind faith. No. There was a reasoning behind it. There is a tactic behind it.
Okay.
You don't give the king everything up front. You make him work for it. You make him work for everything that he has to get. Man. So now he's entering a 400 that is wide open on the men's side. Outside of Norman, who else do you have like legitimately on the team? God. I think Norwood probably too, but I think he can make a team. He's just got to battle with the elements and make sure he's in it every single round, getting to the finals. And I think if he's in the finals, people know Quincy in the high school space better than anybody else right now. Like on the high school space. Yeah. He is the biggest name. Would you agree, or is there?
Oh, I would agree.
Sadie?
I would even, to an extent, say that, like, if you're just talking about U.S. track and field in general, like,
yeah,
I think the track sickos know him.
I just, like, there's no other name that you can consistently put out there, and people are like, oh yeah, he's the guy.
Like relays, for example. As soon as that kid got the stick, everybody inside Franklin Field knew
they're gonna
who he was.
Exactly, and I think the Penn Relays crowd prepared him for this moment too. But I think people, if he gets to the finals of the 400, will be cheering for him. Whereas if you're in the 100, they're cheering for Noah. They're cheering for Christian. These guys that they've been like putting investment and time and effort into watching them succeed. Christian's not really known that much yet, so that his story hasn't been written. So I think there is a lot of factors here, and that's why I'm going Quincy for the 400-meter team here.
That's a fair argument. I do like the valid points. I think it's funny because I think
it's
weeks
hilarious.
ago when we were saying, oh yeah, he can make the team.
Weeks ago. Now I'm changing course because I think he's ready.
Oh, God.
I
love how you say you just like held back.
I did. I held back.
Okay.
I think every little origin story needs their I mean, they need their negativity. They need some kind of obstruction. They need some challenge to, get them in the right headspace. Not saying I was that, but he needed to hear some of these things to get them in that space. And that's, yeah, I can go on and on about this, but we won't. All right. So the next thing we're going to get into is another kind of battle between the top two athletes in the high school ranks. Very seldomly have we ever had a year where we've had two legitimate stars on the distance ranks, but we do this year. You have to give me an argument on who you would pick as a top dog of 2024, Daniel Simmons or Drew Griffith. Ashley, I'll start with you first.
I think I'm going to have to go with Drew Griffith, and here's why. If you look at our rankings, you go to MileSplit.com, look at outdoor rankings 2024, whose name pops up like 8 times?
Yep.
Drew Griffith. He has the national lead in the 15, the 1600, the mile, the 3K, the 32, and the 2 mile. Now, sure, it's, the 15 and the 3K, some of that's en route to some of those other performances, but that's legit. He's gone sub 4 minutes twice in the mile. He's number 2 all time in the boys 2 mile after running 8:31 at Brooks PR. I mean, to me, that's dominance across multiple events, that mile and that 2 mile that is commonly run at the high school level for the boys. So that's why I have him as top distance guy.
Olivia?
This guy's range is ridiculous. So I'm with Ashley. She already said it. Over 6 events, like from the 15 all the way to the 2 mile. That is ridiculous. That is what you call range. And there's no other athlete in 2024 that has broken 4 minutes in the mile, not once, but twice. 3:57 to be number 4 all time, number 2 all time in the 2 mile with an 8:31. So I have to go with Drew Griffith as like the top distance dog of 2024.
Can I ask you this at least?
Yeah.
What do you think Drew Griffith's long-term potential is in the college and U.S. ranks, international ranks? What do you think his long-term potential is as far as his best distance, best event?
That's a good question.
My gut's saying mile.
You're saying 1,500?
Yeah, 1,500 mile.
Yeah, maybe you tap into that a little bit, or maybe you go up to 5K. If you think about it, he hasn't raced the 5K a whole lot, so he doesn't have that under his legs, and that's something that, based on that 2 mile, you can kind of develop that. If you can string that out a little bit, you can get a good 5K out of that.
Yeah.
I think his long-term potential is 5K, 10K. I will say, I will give you Drew Griffith this year. No one's beating him in the mile. No one's beating him at the mile at all. He's just owned it better than most kids ever at the high school ranks. But if we're looking at long-term potential, who's better at 5K, 10K? Again, that's not the question, but this is what I'm asking. I think I'm actually going to pick Daniel Simmons because look at those 5K times.
Yeah.
Absolutely smashed the national records as a high schooler. 13:25 outdoors, 13:38 indoors. Again, Drew didn't run these, so there's no comparison there, but Daniel Simmons is far and away the best we've ever seen at those distances. They split with each other. Drew won the mile over Daniel this weekend. Daniel beat him in the 3,200 meters at Arcadia, so they're kind of split in these ways. Daniel didn't get a chance to run that 2 mile at Brooks PR, so you can't really say there. So I'm going to go with Daniel Simmons. The only thing is who's going to be better right away? It's going to be Drew Griffith because Daniel goes on his mission right after his cross-country year, so he's going to come back at 22 and get back in that BYU ranks, and obviously Griffith will carve himself out a role at Notre Dame pretty quickly, I would think. So I'm kind of split on this, but if we're thinking long-term, I'm going Daniel Simmons.
Okay. I think you have a great argument. They're both incredible athletes too, so.
Oh, yeah. I think Drew Griffith has Nico Young potential too. Nico ran 3:34 for 1,500 meters this year. And people see him as a 10K guy, 5K, 10K guy, and he ran 3:34. So that's kind of similar thinking. If Drew gets up to that top potential there, he could tap into that. But good argument. All right, next one. Pick one girl and one guy who is going to be a superstar in 4 years in high school track meet, which means they have to be in 8th grade right now.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, I may have picked someone that's not in 8th grade.
Yeah, same.
9th grade?
I got middle school vibes.
7th maybe?
Okay, fine.
Okay.
That's fine. That works.
I was like,
That
middle
works.
school vibes is
That
where I
works.
was going with.
That works. We'll go Ashley right away.
First I'll do my one that's more recent, right? That kind of based on stuff that's happened this weekend. My girls pick. Caitlin Estep. She's from North Carolina, 8th grade, superstar. She's gone 451 in the full mile. She's gone 449 for 1600. She was 3rd at Brooks PR in the middle school mile. She's also gone 10:39 for 32. I also saw she had a 27 200 on her thing. And
wow.
I think a 57 400. So she's got some range. So I think, if she continues this up, she'll be one to watch in North Carolina. And hey, I mean, you know how North Carolina distance, they're good.
7th grade, you said?
8th grade.
8th grade. Okay.
8th grade.
Okay.
So that's my girls' pick. Okay. Flashback to last year, Des Moines, Iowa. Patricio Pardo. If you have not seen this guy race, he is an AAU superstar.
Unreal.
I'm laughing because we're all huge fans of Patricio Pardo. But this kid, I mean, he has multiple records, age group records at AAU. Last year, he ran 9:33 for 3K. I believe he's maybe in 7th grade now.
Okay.
I think he was 6th grade last year. But I mean, this kid's been dominating it on the U space, so why not?
And what a name, Patricio Pardo. I could.
Great kid.
Used to saying that over and over again in a race. So, Olivia, who are you going with?
All right, I had to dive a little bit deeper. I think I'm still trying to figure out. Whatever. Okay, for me, Callie Payne. I looked this one up. She is in 8th grade. 14:36 for the 100-meter hurdles. Competed at Adidas Outdoor Nationals in that middle school race. Won that. Great time. Now, I had to do a double take because Ashley and I were talking about this in the office. I was like, there's no way a middle schooler broke 50 seconds in the 400 meters.
Wow.
But it's a real thing. Kawana Smith. I think Kawana's from California. Don't quote me on that. But 49:02.
Wow.
Middle school race. I don't know how old Kawana Smith is, but middle school race got the job done.
I have to double check that one.
Wow.
Double check.
When I think of a 49 seconds is kind of moving.
Yeah.
For a middle school kid, So shout out to Kawana Smith.
Yeah.
Great things.
Although on the girls' side, Kayla Davis ran 23 low and 50.
51
as an 8th grader.
I think that was when I was
something
a
like that.
contributor.
It was something like that.
That was when I was in high school.
Oh yeah.
I watched one of them with my own eyes. Yeah, I was freelancing at.
Kayla was a different breed when she was.
Wow, that's
younger.
wild.
Yeah. Speaking of which, recent stars from MileSplit feeds, Melanie Doggett. Melanie's turning into my favorite young star. I saw her personally last year as a 6th grader at Adidas. This year she leveled up. She's going into her 8th grade year next year from Georgia. 11.53 in the 100.
That's ridiculous.
23.47 I think I'm more impressed by in the 200. Those are top 10 marks. I think the 200 is definitely top 10 mark in the country overall.
What grade is she in again?
She's going into 8th grade.
Going into 8th grade.
I thought she was already an 8th grader.
No. She's going into 8th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, that was clarified. Going into 8th grade.
Okay.
She was in 6th last year, 7th this year, going into 8th grade.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
From Georgia?
Yeah. And
oh boy.
Good people. Met her and her dad at Nike Indoor this year. I love it. And then my next guy, I was talking to Ashley about this guy, Lucas Amador from St. Louis, Missouri. He gives me vibes of I am going to do anything to win.
Love it.
It's kind of dangerous to have as an 8th grader.
Yeah, but then also it could work to your advantage. 422 as an 8th grader in the mile. 422. I think he's possibly a guy who's going to just blow up. I think in 2 years will blow up in a good way. And then, we'll kind of carry that talent out. So I'm looking at Lucas Amador in about 4 years. That might be the best in the country for a high school boy. That's my pick.
Love it.
We only have a couple left. We're going to get to a segment we did last time that was pretty fun. I think we quizzed Olivia here on whether she knew whether, a subject was an athlete or an actor.
Yes.
Because, we always talk about our favorite shows and movies in the office.
And I don't watch many of those.
And she knows nothing. But she would know athletes, right? Well, hold on, because that's kind of difficult. So we're going to do it with Ashley this time around. Olivia and I have cultivated several photos that we're going to quiz Ashley on to see whether she knows whether they are athlete or actors.
I cannot look at Ashley
scared.
at all.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to laugh.
So I think we should start this
scared.
off the bat, Ashley.
Okay.
Let's start. See if you have what it takes.
I can't even look.
I'm scared. I think I'm pretty
to deliver
poorly at
here.
This. I guess.
Are you ready?
50 shot. Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Wait, how many do we have?
I think we have 8 or 9, but we're gonna tee them up here. I
Okay.
think on
Good
the
luck.
TV.
On the TV.
Yeah.
Good luck, Ashley.
I'm gonna not look at you because I know you're gonna start lapping at every. Oh, okay.
So,
wait.
All right. Right now. All right.
I can't
Athlete
look.
or actor.
Who is that? It almost looks like Clay from Love Is Blind. Is that Clay from Love Is Blind?
I can't even look.
I think that is. Which technically that's a trick question because he's both a track person and an actor. So trick question both.
Let me know when you put your answer in.
Well, one. So actor. So you're saying both. It's not Clay, by the way.
It looks like Clay.
It does a little bit, but it's not Clay. His name's David Verberg. He's a U.S. Olympic gold medalist in the 4x4 from the 2016 Rio Olympic Games.
How did he get on Ellen?
Appeared on the Ellen show after his video of him saving a turtle went viral.
Yes.
Serious.
That was Olivia's
Yes,
pick
I will
here.
show you the video. He
serious?
stops traffic and runs into the middle of the intersection, grabs a
Oh my
turtle,
gosh.
and saves the turtle. Showed up on that Ellen show.
All right, so right now you're 0 for 1.
0 for
0 for 1,
That
Ashley.
was
He kind of does look like Clay, though, from
From the side, I don't know. Maybe my
side.
eyesight's bad because
Yeah.
but it kind of looks like him. Anyway.
All right, next up.
All right.
Next photo we got here. We're gonna cue you up. We're gonna tee you up with this tough one.
A tough one.
See. All right. Who is this person?
Y'all are devious. You picked some awful hard photos.
Athlete or actor?
I'm gonna say she looks kind of like an influencer type, so I'm gonna say actress.
All right. Good call. Good guess.
Very
That is
good.
actually Adria Arjona. She was recently a star in the movie Hitman featuring Glenn
Oh,
Powell,
okay, I've heard of it.
University of Texas guy himself. Also in Father of the Bride, up and coming actress. Really, really great stuff. All right. So you're 1
1 for 2.
for 2.
One for
Okay.
two. 1 for 2.
Next up. This one might be a little difficult. We'll see.
Oh no.
Already complained about your eyesight, so we'll see if you can figure out who this is.
Well, at least I'm 50% right now.
50%.
Just waiting.
Just waiting for that moment to queue up. All
Oh,
right.
here we go. I think it's coming up.
Actor.
Can't
Or
even tell
athlete.
who that is. I kind of want to go track person. They're just giving me track vibes.
What's your reasoning? What's your reasoning?
Just track vibes. I don't know. There's something about the track community and like
Track vibes.
I don't know. I feel like track people always will like try to be
Influencer?
influencers, but they're like not. You know what I mean?
Funny.
Well, you are correct. This is a track athlete, and you may know him. We all met him
Yeah, we've all met him.
at Penn. His name's Jordy Beamish of OAC.
Oh, well, I told you my eyesight's bad. I can't.
I wonder if
see
you could
from
get him
here.
on the-
I need it on
on
the
the
big screen.
Good job so far. 2 of 3. You got that one right.
See, I
that
feel
was
like if
Jordy
that one
Beamish.
was on the big screen, I would have easily seen that that was him.
Okay, so a little bit of
least you got the
strategy
vibe.
here. Tactics. World indoor champion in the mile, Jordy Beamish, OAC athlete, loves coffee too. All right, we're gonna go to our 4th one now. Can you guess whether this is an actor or an athlete?
Totally an actress.
Really?
Interesting.
What makes you say that?
Just actress.
Interesting. Incorrect.
What?
This is Alicia Schmidt, the 25-year-old German
Who the heck?
400
is that?
meter runner, 5207. She's one of the most popular athletes on Instagram, 5.1 million followers.
Oh my
One of the most
gosh.
followed athletes
Are you
in the
serious?
world.
That's so lame.
Yes.
That's so
Yes.
lame.
Really?
Alicia Schmidt of Germany.
But she can only run 52:07 in a 400.
Well, hey, that's beside the point. She is an athlete. All right, good stuff so far.
here we go.
Oh, there we go. Bigger screen.
Next one up. Who is this? Actor or athlete? Interesting.
Okay, it looks like this picture's been cropped.
What do you mean
So,
cropped?
you know, you cropped out someone next to this person that would have given it away, maybe.
Oh, so what's going through your head?
He's giving me track vibes. I can't explain it.
Track vibes.
Yeah,
So track is your final answer.
track. Track's my final answer.
Incorrect.
Oh my god.
Actor Stephen James played Jesse Owens in the movie Race.
I have seen that. Movie.
Oh,
Starred
I've seen the movie.
in If Beale Street Could Talk. This is Stephen James, the actor. So 2 of 5 right now.
did he not
really
look familiar
bad.
to you?
You're
No,
struggling.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Oh, wow.
You're struggling. It's okay. It's
okay.
These are hard.
told you they were
these
harder.
are very hard.
This isn't fair.
All right.
I think y'all are purposely trying to.
I think we have 4 more left here for
Oh gosh,
Ashley.
Will this be over?
Yeah.
It's not going too well.
We'll see if you can get back up to 500. You're 2 of 5 right now.
Oh,
All right, come on,
gosh.
Ashley. I have faith. Ashley, I have faith in you.
I have no faith in myself.
I have faith.
This is not going well.
This was a collaborative effort between Olivia and I to pick these
was.
Obviously, I
photos.
need to A, watch more movies, and B, I guess be more of a track sicko and know these track people. So
All right. I
Next
think we got the
one.
next photo coming up shortly here.
Oh no.
All right.
I can see it being queued up.
We got one queued up. Actor or athlete?
Is this like an Alexander Dom situation where it's like some German athlete or something?
You got to use your forces to determine.
What vibes?
Or
is
this
it
person
giving you?
also kind of looks like Austin Butler in a way. Kind of.
Interesting.
You know who that is?
I do, yeah. Yeah.
But I don't think it's him.
Actor, athlete.
I'm going to go actor.
It's actually an athlete
Oh my god.
from Belgium.
I knew it. I knew you picked some Belgian athlete. This is
His
fair.
name's Peter Sisk. He's run 144. He's the top rated Belgium 800-meter runner.
Of course I mentioned that, and then it was a Belgian athlete. I knew it. I knew it.
Oh,
This is so terrible.
you're killing
Oh,
it.
got me so
Yeah.
bad.
You're doing great.
You're,
I should have gone with my gut and said track.
well, that was Sisk right there. So, all right.
What is going on in that picture, though? Can we talk about that?
I don't know.
what
He's
is
being
going on?
artsy. He's being artsy. He's
Yeah.
Belgium. They like art.
I guess.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. I think we got a couple more left for you. You're 2 of 6.
Not going well.
33% for Ashley right now.
I'm failing the class.
All right.
Failing.
This is a lot harder, though.
Yeah, Liv, how would you have done on this one?
I would have. I don't know. I think I would have failed. I would have failed.
I think you would have failed too, personally.
All right. Next up, who do you
Oh,
think?
that's such an easy one.
Well, who is it?
Actor, that's Chris Evans.
Okay, fair enough. We had
Captain
to give
America.
you one easy one, but he kind of looks like a decathlete right there, right?
No.
A little bit, a
No.
little bit. All right, fair. 3 of 7 right
Yeah,
now.
3 of
Chris
7.
Evans.
I can get to 50% on this last.
that was-
Wait, how many more are there?
I think we're gonna go one more because we mislabeled one of them. We got one more,
Okay.
maybe
So
two,
I can get to
two more left.
50%.
I actually think the last one's probably one of the easiest ones. So
Easier than this?
probably.
Maybe. We'll
Yeah.
see.
We might have two
I
left. We
mean-
might have 2 left, but
Maybe.
I mean-
We'll see.
we'll see.
You're doing great.
We'll see.
You're doing great.
I don't like this game. I don't like it.
All right.
I feel like on the flow track pod, we need to reverse and do it for Corey. That way.
Yeah,
it's
we
fair.
should. Yeah. I think we could.
All right. Who do we got here? Actor
So
or
this is one of the easiest ones?
actor or athlete? Well, yeah.
I know this person.
Okay.
Liv, you're laughing.
Am I? I've
This
been.
is a track
I've been
athlete.
laughing.
see?
I've been laughing.
See,
Who
I
is this?
honestly I wouldn't
Tell
know.
us.
I wouldn't know who this is
Looks
either if you just
familiar.
showed to me. But I'm feeling the vibes of just a track athlete. Dee Trotter, 3-time Olympic medalist, 2 gold at 4x4, 3rd the 400, 12 Olympics medalist in the 400. So very very talented and accomplished 400-meter runner. We're gonna call it after that one. You were 4 of 8.
4 of 8.
Not bad, not bad.
What was the easy one?
I would say Chris Evans was probably the easiest one. I thought that was pretty easy too, but I would just look at her to read her, and that,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
probably
yeah.
got it after
Yep,
that.
yep.
So.
It was pretty easy after that.
All right. Well, that's almost our show. I think the last thing we want to do here is just kind of, reminisce on the line. I've been a part of it since its very first episode. Olivia, I think you've been here for 4 years now.
Yeah.
Yep. And you're at 2. So we've all sort of been with this show for such a long time. And, we're still going to have a podcast, but, not all focused on high school athletics. So just want to take some time to just kind of talk about it. And we do have a clip of the very first episode ever aired from 2017, Brooks PR. I think this is just our opener featuring myself, Travis Miller, Brian Dybel, and Billy Saveco. Many know him as the Toad. So let's cue that video up.
Welcome. This is MileSplit Live, presented by Brooks. I'm Corey.
Here.
This is the MileSplit crew, Travis Miller, Billy Saveco, Brian Dybel, and we are here to discuss one of the biggest, best, and brightest meets the whole year. Brooks PR Invitational, held at Shoreline Stadium in Washington this year, figures to be one of the best of its entire history. We're going to have a live look at it today. Our lineup.
Yeah, so that was the clip from the first episode, very
squad.
first moments there. Took us a lot of trial runs just to get to that moment. And you can see we're probably not all, buttoned up, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah.
You're just kind of around a table.
Yep.
The production value's increased quite a bit.
It has.
Yes.
It has increased a lot. But over the years, we obviously have gotten some really, really good guests and some funny moments. I think one of the funny ones we've talked about recently, because Sha'Carri Richardson has become such a star, is the fact that we got her on the phone that same year during recruiting day, and we have a video from that. We want to cue that up as well to see, how she responded to us.
About powerhouse sprint programs. You look at her list of potential schools, just check them all off the list. I mean, she's been a powerhouse and a force in Texas sprinting.
Hey, Lauren, this is Corey with MileSplit. We're trying to get Sha'Carri on the line. Is it possible to talk to her?
Yes, hold on.
All right. Hey, Sha'Carri.
Hi,
How's it going?
I'm fine.
Now, you're live with MileSplit Live here. We're talking college signings today. Now, I know that you did not announce anything yet. Have you made your decision on your college choice?
Yes, I've made my final decision, and right now I am sitting in my conference waiting to announce it.
Ooh, so is there any chance we can get an early preview of this announcement on the phone here?
No. No.
So you want us to call you back? How about that? Why don't we call you back? All right, what
Okay.
time are you making your official signing?
I think we're going to be starting after I get off the phone call. So after that, that will be the perfect time to call back. So
Okay. All right.
30 minutes from now?
Sure. All right, we'll give you a call afterward.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye. Like Fort Knox there.
Yeah,
Did not want to give up. Where'd you want to go?
Hey, man, they don't mess around in Texas.
You're like, I don't care that your mouth split. I'm announcing what I'm announcing.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
she's looking at Florida, LSU, Texas Tech. She's looking at some of the top programs in the country. It'll be interesting to see where she goes. Even within that Dallas-Fort Worth area, those schools have had good success with the top sprinters. Kayla Harris is now over there at Texas Tech. Courtney Johnson, who was one of the top 4A sprinters in the state a couple years ago, was at LSU.
Right.
So there's some interesting connections there. You look at official visits. A few minutes ago, I talked about Kennedy.
Yeah, so
Did you call her back?
I honestly I think Will called her back. I think Will got the story later in the day, but
LOL.
is that not like Sha'Carri today as she
totally-
was, 7 years ago?
Carried to a T. That is
Yeah.
literally same person, just many years
A little
ago.
younger. Love it. I mean, that's just part of trying to do this on the phone back in the day too, and trying to reach out to people. I think we have one more clip we want to show. It was kind of a funny moment.
Two.
Two of them?
Two.
Oh, we
What?
got
I got
two.
one too.
We got two? Okay. Let's go. Let's go to the moment over the holidays then.
Yes.
Go to the moment over the holidays. Olivia and I were on the desk, I think.
We're at the desk. This
Yeah.
was before Ashley time. Hello, everybody. Welcome to On the Line. I'm Olivia Panay, joined in studio this time with Corey Mull. I have to ask you, who missed the memo on outfits today?
You did. You did.
Come on now. I'm rocking the gingerbread
Yeah.
man.
It's not Christmas yet. We got 10 days.
But this is the
11
last
days.
time I'm going to see you.
No, 9 days.
This is the last time I'm going to see you before the holidays kick in. So, holiday sweater.
I mean, we'll talk over remote Zooms and
That's
such,
true.
You know,
That's true.
That's life now.
It gets me every time.
I'm such a curmudgeon.
Oh
I'm
my
such a curmudgeon.
gosh. We
I
definitely
totally
planned
believe that y'all planned it and you didn't.
Yes.
I might not have agreed to it, possibly.
Yeah, you totally agreed to it. I can see you agreeing. and
Maybe,
it's
not doing it, not doing
Yeah.
it.
I show up in studio with my Christmas sweater, the gingerbread man.
Yeah, that's my bad. That's my bad.
Flow Track Podcast.
Low Track Podcast.
True, true.
We'll see.
Boom.
I think you guys will be on that for sure. We'll see if I do it. I'm more of a Jim Halpert 3-hole punch
Oh, fair.
kind of guy. Okay.
Fair.
All right, one more clip before we
man.
get our final thoughts here. And, I want to shout out to a lot of the, former MileSplit staffers that were a big part of our show. Kyle Deacon, Trent Warren, Felicia Banda, Parker Navarro. I mean, we've had a lot of people on this show that have provided insight and voice to it. And we have one clip from, I think it was like 4 years ago or something, 5 years ago with Parker Navarro. We were talking to Evan Bishop, who was a runner from Michigan, and we were closing things off, and just a funny moment ensued here. So let's cue it up.
I have a question for Evan. Who would you say your most valued Twitter follower is? If you had to choose.
It would have to be you. I would
Oh
say.
my
That's-
gosh, no way. I'm just honored.
Hey.
That's the best award I've gotten ever.
The
That
Sims
made-
headphones.
Yeah, I play Sims 4 in these headphones only.
And I forgot to mention Brian Dybel, too. Brian
Brian.
and myself were a part of MileSplit Live for a good 5 years,
Wow.
4 or 5 years. And Brian's still chugging along with us today doing videos and content editing. Huge part of our site still. So let's go to our final thoughts here. Ashley, what do you want to say?
I'm like on the spot first.
Yeah. Well, you got the least reps.
That's true.
How about
That's
that?
true. Yeah, I've been here 2 years and stuff, and started on doing this podcast right from the get go. And I think it's one of those things where once you get into it, like it's fun, right? It's like I feel like every time we do it, it's like I'm just having conversations with my friends, like track sickos, talking about high school track and field. I feel like it's pretty rare to like have a space like that to talk about all the remarkable things that high schoolers are doing. And I feel like it's really, put high schoolers, in the track and field space on, giving them a platform, right, to, make a name for themselves. And I mean, shoot, how many times have we been to meets and stuff, and we've
I
had
was going to say this.
parents,
100%.
coaches,
Yeah.
athletes that come up to us, be like, we just watched your On the Line show. Like we love it. We watch it every week. And, they're just, telling us how much they appreciate us, talking about these athletes. And I think that's really one of the things that I can take away from this is that like, we aren't just sitting here just like chatting, even though like a lot of times it is feeling like we're just chatting, us track sickos about track things. But, these kids, these parents, these coaches, these athletes, like they follow it. And I think in that way we can be proud of like what we've done.
Well said. Well said.
Well said.
Thank you.
I don't know how else to add to that because the feelings are mutual. Like you said, this is going into my 5th year at Flow Sports, and just being a part of On the Line has just been one of the things I look forward to. Like Ashley mentioned, it's just my friends talking about high school track, and you get to know these athletes, the coaches, the parents very well, and we all collectively have numbers in our phones from people that like say, oh my gosh, we love what you said on the show, and the shout outs on social media. It honestly means a lot, but we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the track sickos, as we like to call y'all, but also the parents, the coaches, and also you guys as the high school athletes. But again, we're not going anywhere. We're just shifting into a different space. So we're not going anywhere, but I definitely will miss On the Line because it's just been a huge part of my journey here.
Yeah. You get outside your track circle and you talk to people. I don't think they quite understand what this sport is and how it impacts people in it, athletes, coaches, teams, as you said, us as media members. I mean, you really have to be in it to understand it. And I think this shows a perfect embodiment of that as well. I mean, we are talking about such a niche sport in the U.S. Where not a lot of people give it as much respect, credit that it is due. So I think having a chance to be on this show for such a long time and talk specifically about high school track and field has been such an honor, because we value it so much, right? And I think high schoolers deserve high level coverage as much as any other sport. I mean, track and field, millions of kids, over a million in each gender, compete in this sport every single year in the U.S. It's, you know, it's such, it's just everywhere, right? So I think having a chance to talk about like the higher level stuff and the fun stuff and just the incredible moments has been just why I love this job so much too. It makes it so fun. And this does sound like sort of like a funeral.
It does.
In a way.
I'm like, oh man, I'm kind of sad.
In a way, but I mean, yeah, we will continue and to talk about, you know, every level of track and field on the Flow Track podcast, but it'll just have a different space. So again, we want to thank all of you for taking the time to listen to us and to offer your comments, emailing us, DMing us. Make sure if you do have our emails or our numbers, just throw us a text if you saw this, and, you know, we'd love to hear from you. And just, you know, until next time, we will be back. Another Forum, Flow Track podcast. Keep tuning in to Flow Track and MileSplit for all the coverage you deserve, and we'll have it for you, okay? Take care.